Friday. Friday? It's not Friday, Thursday. Happy Thursday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. It is Thursday, May 7th. I had Friday in my mind because tomorrow, Friday, May the 8th, is my mother's birthday. And I kept saying to myself, remember, self, Friday is your mother's birthday. Because the days are, they're blending together, aren't they? So how's everybody doing today? Everybody okay? I have a few crafty things to share with you today that I worked on last night and this morning. I only did a little bit of stitching last night. By the time I sat down last night, it was late and I was quite tired. We went for quite a nice long family walk last night after John got home from work, and then by the time we got home again, it was already late and I hadn't made dinner yet. So it's just one of those things that spirals. And so by the time I sat down, it was 9 o'clock. It was 9 o'clock last night. I made the most delicious soup. I make this butternut squash carrot soup with a can of coconut milk and curry powder and cumin and coriander, and it's so good. And John made a loaf of homemade bread, and it was such a good dinner. It was really yummy. I don't have a recipe, I'm sorry, because he follows a recipe for his bread, but I never follow a recipe for my soup. I just kind of chuck everything in together. If you're interested in what I do, I can tell you another time. But let's talk about stitching. Okay, I did a little bit of work on Hope and Strength. I was hoping to get 2 snowflake stars done, but I only got 1 done. One's better than none though. So as you can see, well, I'm looking at it, it's my right, but it's probably your left. So that, well, it's the only side that has 3 stars. That's the one that I did, clearly. And I still have yet to do the other one on the other side, so I'll try to do that tonight. Open Strength. This is a free PDF download from glendonplace.net. And I'm using the called for stuff. It's so beautiful. And I love that I'm putting a few stitches in it every day. Bit of time to think. This is a Kay's, whoops, almost hit myself in the face with it. Kay's Creations lap frame. Someone asked me what size the stretcher bars were. Let's measure, I'll find out. And I apologize for not knowing your name because it's only just, I've only just remembered that someone even asked me because I didn't answer it right away, which is, that's part of the problem. Some of these things that I see, if I'm in the middle of something else or it's right before I'm about to go to bed and I don't answer, and sometimes it's really hard to go back and find these things again. So I have remembered that someone asked me what size the stretcher bars are. These are 28 inches. So, but you should have the size of you should know the cut size of the fabric that you're getting and the cut size of your project, and that'll be the size that you choose for the bars. Does that make sense? I think so. I'm a little discombobulated today because John came home early from work by like hours. He came home at 12:30 today. He never comes home at 12:30, and so we had lunch together, and then he had to go and pick up the car from the mechanic, and so the kids have been in and out, and trying to get my mind, because I was almost ready to sit down and record, and then he came home, so it's kind of thrown me for a bit of a loop today. So apologies if I'm even more distracted than usual. Okay, ink circles, thread and eye mandala. I did my 30 minutes this morning with my coffee, and as you can see, I started filling in some more of the green. It's hard to see because the green that I was using was the lightest green. So I'll bring it up close and I'll point it out. It's this in here, and then I finished this corner motif in there. That's completely done now. That wasn't done before. And then I just used up any leftover thread over here. And what else? I think that was it. Just that green there. 30 minutes goes by fast, doesn't it? Especially, it's really breathed new life into this project for me, because at the end of the 30 minutes, I'm disappointed that it's over and I want to keep going. So it's making me look forward already to the next morning when I get to have my coffee and another 30 minutes of stitching. So it's working really well, actually. I know it doesn't look like it's progressing very quickly, but I'll tell you, that's a heck of a lot more progress than I've made in the last 3 years. I can live with that. Okay, so let's take the screenshot photo for today. So there we go. Yesterday I had it really crooked, so I'm gonna just do that again. So make sure it's straight. There we go. The reason I'm doing that is, you know what? I say it every day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a reason why I'm doing this every day in the drop-down box below, so that those of you who come and visit me every day don't have to listen to me say the same thing every day. Okay, knitting. I did not even put a single round into my father-in-law's socks because I thought, I really felt like picking up Sarah's Afghan again. Her birthday is almost coming up, and so I thought, let's try to put a few more rows in before her birthday and after, because I need to finish this. I'm a long way from finishing. This is the Talon Throw, T-A-L-O-N, Throw by Brooklyn Tweed. And I have just completed the 3 most cable heavy rows in the pattern for the next, I think I have 8 or 10 more much simpler rows. Those cable rows at the beginning of the pattern repeat take a really long time, because every 3 stitches there's a cable, 3 stitches, cable, 2 stitches, cable, all the way across the row, and it's you know, 248 stitches or something. It's not small. So what I did was I moved my progress keeper. So I put it in a new spot. There it is. My friend Carrie, the creative curator, made these. She sells these beautiful chainmail progress keepers, zipper pulls, scissor fobs. They're absolutely beautiful. And she sent me some along with the package of zipper pulls that I had for the last kit. And so that's what I'm using all the way across. Look at this one. Look at this captured bead. I've shown these before, but they're so pretty. I want to show it again. It's so beautiful. And so those are helping me keep my place in the pattern. So I've moved the progress keeper up from where it was, you know, down hereabouts when I picked this back up after quite a long hiatus and started working on it again. So I moved it this morning up, and I have since knit 1 row. So today is May the 7th. So now at the end of May, I'll take stock of how many rows I've knit since I moved that. And this time I started knitting the cake from the outside. I'm pulling from the outside of the cake instead of pulling from the inside. I just found this yarn, it started to really collapse on itself early in the structural integrity of the cake was compromised quite quickly, which made it really annoying to knit from, because you would pull, now I've used this expression before, knitters know it well, it's called yarn barf, when you pull out your pull from the center and a whole pile of yarn comes out at the same time, effectively from the center of the ball. So this time I thought, well, let's knit from the outside. And so far, I'm pleased. Okay, that was my chair. That was my chair. All right, so I showed you my hope and strength, my knitting, my ink circles. So, you know, it's all just, it's little incremental progress, right? But it still makes you feel quite good. Okay, so I've talked about the new start for Sunday, for Mother's Day, which is going to be the Lila Studios with my needle 2. And did I mention that there was a scroll rod story? Because I couldn't remember whether the scroll rod story, whether I had mentioned it in the 20 minutes that I was talking to myself and didn't realize that the record button was not pushed, or if I told you again when I re-recorded yesterday. So in case I didn't mention it, I have a scroll rod story. It's not really a story about the scroll rods per se, but it's, so here's the thing. I started thinking a lot about the fact that I'm starting another really big project. And oh, that reminds me, actually that reminds me, and I don't have it here with me. However, you'll know what I mean. So I'm gonna show you these scroll rods, and they have a piece of fabric on it. And I'll tell you more about that piece of fabric in a minute, okay? Let me tell you something else first. It's all related to Lila's studio pattern, I promise. I had a lady email me and ask me about the Blackbird Designs piece, the loose feathers design, the seasons, the one that is just been re-released. And she noticed that my scroll rods were this way. So I'm effectively stitching the piece right side up, and the scroll rods are on the sides instead of being on the top and the bottom. Well, the reason for that is because I'm stitching the piece sideways. So when it's in my frame, the piece is sideways, and I don't have a problem with that at all. All I do is I make sure that I keep my pattern sideways, and I just stitch from the pattern sideways. And because I'm never changing orientation of either the pattern or the scroll rods, I never have to worry about the direction of the top leg of my stitch, because it's all going to be the same anyways, because I'm stitching everything going the same way. So when I got the fabric for Lila Studios ready, I thought, it's really wide. It's a really wide design. It's like 460 odd stitches wide. And I thought, you've got some really long scroll rods, but they have projects on them. You have some smaller scroll rods, but then you're going to have to stitch this design sideways. And I'm not sure that I want to stitch this design sideways. The loose feathers Blackbird design is, I'm not going to say that it's easier, but it's on a larger count fabric, and so it's easier to see, and there's maybe a little bit more open space in the design than there is in the Lila Studios design. Is quite dense stitching, and because there are words, because there's a phrase, because there is, I just want to stitch this one the right way up. And then I thought, you're going to need some really long scroll rods, which led me to think about, okay, which projects do I have on really long scroll rods? And there are a few, but the one that stuck out in my mind that I thought, yes, you could take that project off those scroll rods, is the Prairie Schooler alphabet. Now, those of you who have been with me for a really long time think way back to January. Somebody's honking outside. I think it's one of the construction vehicles. Possibly. Anyways, I will carry on. January 2019, my high tea start. It might have been my high tea start at the end of December or end of January. I don't remember. But it was like over a year ago. I started it for high tea. Now that is a massive project, and my friend Letitia, the crafty curator, she is also doing the same thing. She and I share a love of, I mean, if it's big, if it's a huge project, we want to stitch it. And so I restarted mine because she was working on hers, and I thought, yeah, I still really want to do that. And so I had already started it once, but it was on the wrong fabric, and it was a linen instead of an even weave, and I was trying to do it over one, and it was much too small and dense, and it just wasn't working. So I restarted it for a special start. Do you want to know how much I've gotten done? You guessed it. That's it. I know, isn't that embarrassing? That's embarrassing. But it's, you know, I'm owning it. I'm owning it. Yes, it's embarrassing. That's it. since last January. And you know what? I thought about it and I thought I don't even really feel like pulling it out and working on it, because I get a lot of pleasure from watching Letitia work on hers, but when I see her working on it, she's working on each individual letter. She's not working on it as a whole. And then I thought, do I really want to do this project? Or do I just, for this, I want the finished project. I'm not sure I want to stitch it. And that's very unusual for me. Very unusual for me. I would love to have the finished project, but I don't want to stitch it. And I don't think I could afford to pay someone to stitch it for me, because that's crazy. And I don't know that I want it that bad. Do you know what I mean? So I'm abandoning a project. And I never do that. Rarely. I mean, I know I just did that with the stocking, but that was a decision that I made because Colette said that she wanted to stitch it and finish it, and I thought better send it on to a good home than try to, you know, turn it into something that maybe I wouldn't be happy with. This is the first project that I've actually thought, I don't know that I ever really want to stitch this, and I need the scroll rods. So if I haven't touched it since January 2019, and I'm not really feeling that I want to pick it back up and stitch on it in the next 6 months, year, I'm gonna abandon it. I'm giving up. I am waving the white flag of surrender on the Prairie Schooler alphabet, which then frees up a pair of really nice long scroll rods that are exactly the size that I need. And it means that I'm swapping out a project that was started for another project. So technically I'm not adding to my whip count. See? Pretty good, hey? So, you know, I'm thinking, okay, and I feel at peace with that. I thought I would feel a little odd saying that I wasn't going to stitch it, because it's been on my bucket list really to stitch the Prairie Schooler alphabet for years. I have all the original hard copy cardstock patterns, so maybe be looking for those in a future giveaway. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I need a little bit more time, but I am going to take the fabric off the scroll rods and repurpose that fabric. The fabric is going back in my stash pile of fabric. And now I have scroll rods for Lila's Studios with my needle too. So, hooray! That was my scroll rod story. Honestly. Okay, I had some happy mail yesterday, and I waited to open it so that I could share it with you because it is so cool. This is the first time I have received yarn like this. I know, I bought some yarn. I haven't bought yarn in ages. Honestly, honest to goodness, I haven't bought yarn in ages. And I had a viewer leave a comment back when I was talking about my PayPal issues, and she left me a lovely comment about her experience with PayPal, and it sounds like we experienced the same thing. Her name is Shelly, and Shelly left me a lovely comment, and she mentioned that she had the same problem with her shop, and she happened to mention that it was a yarn shop. And so, you know, I may have just been doing some late night browsing over to Shelly's shop and possibly noticed that she was also Canadian, and possibly noticed that she had some really beautiful things, and that she was a small business, and that she dyed all of this yarn herself, and what's a girl to do? So I bought some yarn. I treated myself to a sock set from Shelly. So Shelly's business name, and it arrived yesterday. So I have never received yarn that has been vacuum sealed. It's so cool. It's so cool. It looks like spaghetti. So I thought I would share it with you. So Polka Dot Creek, that's the name of Shelly's business. And again, I purchased this. So this is not an advertisement. I just kind of fell in love with her stuff. Shelly DuPont, polkadotcreek.etsy.com. And, oh, she's got really cute. So she sent along a coupon code for the next order. So this isn't for a first order. This would be for a second order. But it's really pretty, you know, what do you call it? do I have a business? I do have a business, you know, marketing kind of stuff. And then she has this hot pink envelope. How pretty is that? But look at how flat this is. There's a sock set of yarn in here. Believe it or not. Isn't that cool? Look at this. It looks like spaghetti. Totally looks like spaghetti. Okay, so I've never opened one of these before. So let's, but I have my scissors ready. These are huge, eh? These things. Okay, so let's see if we can hear the sound that this makes. This is gonna be fun. Oh, she's from Airdrie, Alberta, Canada. And she's on Instagram, Polka Dot Creek, as well as Facebook. Yeah, and then her email address. Okay, are we ready? Are you listening? Oh, that's fun. Okay, all right, so let's see. I just thought this was so pretty. And it was out of my usual pink, purple, teal wheelhouse. And so I don't really have much sock yarn that's this color. And these are the colors. It's odd because I go for these hot, you know, weird colored yarns. Not weird, brightly colored. But then the socks that I love to wear are, you know, neutrals and stuff. Oh, there's she even included a progress keeper in here. Oh, that's cute. Sugar Tots. Sugar Tots. That is so cute. Look at it's a little yarn skein. One of those polymer clay progress keepers there. Look at that. Oh, that's really cute. So this is from Sugar Tots Fiber. sugartots.etsy.com. That sounds like another little shop I'm gonna have to check out. That's really cute. Oh, that's a cute little progress keeper. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, so these are the minis that came with it. So the minis are still in skein form and they're different colors, slightly different colors. So those are going to be heels and toes or whatnot. What I might do is use one for the cuff and then the other one for the heels and toes. Who knows? Okay, now I have to sort out. Okay, so the skein of yarn does, you know, she has to unwind it in order to do this vacuuming process. So, but it's, again, it still has the ties on it. So it's simple enough. It's not going to be a big giant mess. You just have to skein it back up yourself. Now my friend Adrienne, of course, who's a yarn dyer, retired yarn dyer, she is very, very good at this. And usually I get her to do this for me, but she's not here. Speaking of Adrienne, those of you who know her, who watch the Fiber Friends, Adrienne's getting a new puppy today. His name is Noah and he is adorable. So if you check out Adrienne's Instagram page at TrillaCraft, I'm hoping later today that we might see some new puppy pictures from her. She lost her dog Toka. She lost her dog Toka the same weekend that we had to say goodbye to Daria. So I know she's been very excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing the puppy. But normally she does this for me, and so I'm not as good at it as she is. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that yarn. That is so beautiful. It's like an olive green with speckles of a warmer huntery green with some chocolate brown, espresso-y brown. Oh, it's really, really pretty. This is gonna make a beautiful pair of socks. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, so happy Mother's Day to me. All right, so what she does, let me see if I can do what Adrienne does. She says the trick is to wind it up tighter than you think you can. No. She says keep twisting. Oh, it's called Pistachio Nut Crunch. Hang on and I'll show you the tag in a minute. Okay, so you keep twisting it until it's as tight as you can go, and then when you let go it twirls up on itself. You see that? And then you take one end and you loop it over the next like that. And you see, mine is messy. Mine is always messy, and that's, I'm sure, because I don't twist it tightly enough. So, there. Loosey-goosey, but still, look at that. Look at that. It's a very bright, there. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, Pistachio Nut Crunch. It's 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. And the minis, one is called chocolate and one is called caramel. So there we go. And here is Shelley's information. Well, that was, that's a treat for sure. So you know what I mean? This is not my usual yarn purchasing modus operandi. Normally I am, well, pinks and purples. See the color of my bag? Oh, and burgundies. Burgundy is my number one. Burgundy's number one for me. You might remember my European road trip shawl. This is kind of a merlot-y, winey burgundy color. This is the color that I tend to gravitate towards, and I don't need to buy any more of this color. Ever. Ever. Though I probably will, but I don't need to. However, this sort of, these neutrally warmy colors, I said warm, not worm. They're not wormy. This I'm looking forward to putting on my feet. So, and this I like to wear around my neck because I wear a lot of black. I'm sure you've noticed. And then this color is always nice around my neck. So I guess I better knit faster because at the moment that's not cutting it. Too many things to do. Too many things to do, not enough time. All right, I gotta go. I gotta go. I need to get back to the sewing machine. I have shop update. I'm gonna put it up live at about 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Like I said, I've got some more of those floral bags. This is, my shop is www.evertote.com. I've got some more of the floral bags. I'm gonna have some in the large flat size and some more again in the medium wedge tote size. I still have a few bags left over from the Sarah collection that I made with they're the simple print bag with the ivy motif. Also the ecru cream natural bags with the red cross stitch with the red zips. I'm gonna have some more of those in the medium size and the small size. I'm loading those in as well that I've got ready to go. And the one other fabric that I decided to focus on this week is my Amish print. And I have never offered this in a wedge tote style. So I have 6 sets available. And it comes with the Quilty Fabric Notions pouch. When I did the cross stitch totes, I used the quilt fabric on the top, but instead I've paired this with a black twill on the bottom. I've made the Quilty Notions pouch, and then I used the quilt fabric as the lining. So that Quilty fabric is the lining of the bag as well. Now a lot of people assume that these wedge totes are knitting bags, which they totally are. I mean, when I send them out and I have to fill out a customs form, I put knitting tote on them because, well, sometimes I put cross stitch totes on the flat ones, but I think sometimes I wonder what the customs people think when they see cross stitch tote. What the heck is that? But for cross stitchers, this size, it's a wedge tote, so it's got the flat bottom, so it sits on the table. This is an 8-inch square Q-snap, and since I'm flashing it, this is my Michelle Bendy Stitchy Designs Literary Alice. I know, I haven't put any more stitches in it, but if you've never seen it, it's awfully cute. Isn't it cute? Bendy Stitchy Designs Literary Alice. It's so cute. I really need to put some love into that. But these 8-inch Q-snaps, they fit perfectly inside the wedge tote. This is a medium wedge tote. And what I like about putting my cross stitch projects in these, and so let's pretend This is the Notions pouch because none of my personal stuff ever matches. That's okay. I put everything in here, and then because it's got the strap on it, this is really easy to cart all over the house when your hands are, whoops. My phone, I had to go and answer my phone. I apologize, right in the middle of what I was saying. If I have to cart it all over the house and my hands are full with other stuff, this little strap is really handy. And so it's my travel project bag when I want to just work on something in the car. I don't usually stitch in the car, but I know lots of you do. So when you see these wedge totes, don't just think, oh, those are just for knitters. They're really not. And you can fit a lot of stuff in here. Lots of stuff. There's lots of room for lots of stuff. And like that handle. I still have one of the Woodland Friends wedge totes left from last week. All of the cross stitch totes, the Woodland Friends, those all went to their new homes. So 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you for looking. Thank you for supporting my shop. I appreciate it very much. And so on that note, I am going to get myself back to work. Yes, that's it. I've shared everything. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and we'll have a small episode for Focus on a Designer. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great night. Happy stitching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow.